welcome from one of my favourite venues, certainly in the British Isles, but possibly in the entire world because of the variety of fish that you can catch here. I'll give you 1 second to guess where we are. Yes, well done. Folks, we are at Angler's Paradise, a venue that I very rarely fish, if I'm absolutely honest, but when I do come down here, I make the absolute most of the colours and the variety of the fish that you can catch. And this trip is a very special trip because it's actually the 40th anniversary of Angler's Paradise, which I've been invited down to celebrate tonight. So we just got an afternoon session on, I think we're on the float lake, which is ironic because I've been fishing for about 2 hours on the float and all I can catch is rudd. And I'm going to switch over to the feeder now because everyone around me seems to think that the feeder is the best way to catch on the float lake. But it is what it is, it's fishing, and we're here to catch a few nice coloured fish. But yeah, 40 years in business in these days is one thing, but when you're dealing with livestock like fish is absolute barnstormer of an effort. So to everyone at Angler's Paradise, 40 years, 4 decades, absolutely congratulations. And yeah, so we've got this afternoon and then we've got tomorrow to just flit around, flick a float about, flick a feeder about and see if we can catch some really weird and wonderful stuff that, quite frankly, from where I come from in Essex, I've got no chance of catching. So yes, like I said, I've had my pants pulled down for the last hour and a half, 2 hours on the float, seen loads of fish, can't catch them, and I'm going to revert over to the dark side and I'm going to see if the flat method can put a fish in the back of the net because, quite frankly, I'm desperate. Well, would you have believe it? Turns out the way to catch them on the float fishing lake is on the feeder. How ironic. Blowing my mind. They're coming up, they're eating the maggots. I've got a size 18, a single maggot, and they're literally just turning me over. I've had one chuck with a feeder and I've got a little koi in the net. So I ask you this question, in this situation, would you have done the same thing? Because I persevered as long as I could. And in the end, I give in, but we've got a fish. Welcome to Angler's Paradise. Well, you're unlikely to catch anything monstrous here at Angler's Paradise unless you're on the Specie Carp Lake or the Specie Cat Lake. But this is what it's famous for. Awesome creatures, fantastic colours. I know this one's quite plain, but you'd be out to see him coming in the middle of the night, wouldn't you? Wicked. Not one of the big, oh, I was just about to say it's not one of the big orange ones. It is one of the big orange ones. I couldn't have been more wrong today. I literally couldn't have been more wrong today. Well, it's not one of the big orange ones, but it's an orange one, which is nice. Because I come all the way down here, not for massive fish, I come all the way down here for colour. Things that I very rarely catch anywhere else in the country. And to keep it really simple, because when I started fishing, I went fishing with a feeder rod and a float rod and I just messed about. And all I've done today so far is, all right, I've gone back up to get my feeder rod, but I've just messed about. Seen them, cast them, got mugged off most of the time, but, oh, look at that. Look at that. Folks, look at that. Look at that. I'm after colour. We've had two. One almost totally white and one almost totally orange. A few flecks over it. Wicked, evil looking black eye. Proper little belly on him as well, which is mad because he never had any of my baits up in the water. But that's like 3 chucks on the feeder now and 2 fish. So sometimes you just have to capitulate. I know it's nice catching them how you want to, but I just didn't want it. They didn't want it. I wanted it. They didn't. What an absolute blinder. I love this. It takes me right back to when I was a child. That's not a liner. Same spot, exactly the same spot that I was feeding with the maggots and the pellets and fishing up in the water and different depths, and it looked so good and they were everywhere. I just didn't want it. Flick this over the top. 4 casts, 3 fish. Well, this one isn't in the bag yet. Well, we had a white one, we had an orange one, and now we've got an orange and white one. Like that is completing the rainbow. Isn't it? I almost said when we held the last one up, I would just need one that's like both colours. Whee. Sometimes you don't have to say anything. And on this occasion, I'm not going to, because that is one of the nicest I've ever caught from here. It's got everything in it. Every single colour. Look at that. Orange, white and black marble. Like glorious, literally just stunning. Imagine that at £20. I don't want to put him back, I want to take him home. We've missed most of this because Ty didn't have a lens on his camera, simply because I was getting ready to flick my feeder back out. But where I've had little bits and bobs of bait, I've literally been flicking it down the edge right there. And I thought, whilst I've got a little bit of bait left on the feeder, I'll literally swing it in down the edge. It's gone whilst my bail arm's open. It's only tiny. But I can't believe I sat here for so long trying to catch them on the float, and they were so crafty. Some might say they were even coy. And you stick a flat method on, and it's just a different world. And that just goes to show, every time everyone does a film and says the flat method is the best way of going about attacking any venue, this is why. Like, I'm not the best angler in the world, but I know what I'm doing. I've been around the block, and I couldn't catch them on the float, regardless of what I tried. Yet they're suicidal on the flat method. That's how good it is. Like, literally, do you need anything else? Oh dear. It's a different game of two halves, as they say. Not quite all shapes, but definitely all colours. Beautiful. Ta-ta. If you'd have seen me an hour ago flapping like I didn't know what I was doing, you would have laughed your head off, and that's probably why Ty's not got much footage of it, because I really didn't know what I was doing. But a quick walk back to the van, get the feeder gear, literally my mixing bowl and a couple of flat methods, and it is a different world. It's nothing revolutionary, to be fair. I've got my Chub gear. I've got my 11-foot all-rounder tip rod, love that. 8-pound feeder line, love that. I don't know what grammage this is, 20, I ain't got my glasses on. I can see a 20 something. And it's a simple flat method with a little 4-inch hook link, a size 14 specie hook. But I think the most important thing, because a lot of people at the moment is fishing a bit moody, and even when they're on the feeder, they're getting lots of bangs and sort of pulls, but they're not getting a lot of bites. And actually, since I've changed to the flat method, almost every cast has been a bite. And I think the key is the size of that hook bait. I mean, look at the size of that hook bait in comparison to my thumbnail. Started off as a 10-12 miller, and I've whittled it right the way down to almost as small as I can get it, whilst it's on the hair without actually breaking it off the hair. It's got to be 6 mil, something like that. And these koi being very koi up in the water, as much as they're a lot more suicidal on the deck, and they are definitely eating on the deck, I think they really do like small baits. And so that little 6 mil bait, I think, is the key for me getting so many regular bites in such a short space of time. But that's it. Like, everyone can afford that, everyone can take it everywhere, and you can almost cast it anywhere as well, because obviously the hook bait's hidden by the pellet, and it's all concealed, waiting to be sucked in. So we've said it time and time again, it's the easiest way and the most effective way of fishing if you just want to go and get bites. And I'm going to get some more bites, hopefully. I think that's a better one. Oh, jeez. Beautiful, look at him. Look at him. There we go. One of the smallest ones, but it is in absolutely immaculate condition. Is this the biggest fish of this afternoon? And it is definitely the last fish because I'm completely out of bait. Completely out of bait. Well, out of 2mm pellet. Oh, look at him, look at him. What an epic fight and what an epic second half to this afternoon. Absolutely had my backside spanked on the float. They saw me coming a mile off. Quick wander back to the van, got the flat method out, and I'm out of bait. I mean, I've got to go to a party in 40 minutes, but I'm out of bait. That's how good it's been. And that, Ty, I know you wanted me to move and like move around and try and catch some different species, but we saw some better fish over there. I mean, this ain't the biggest one we saw because they were orange, but this is well worth staying for. Well worth it. I'm very happy with that. This is how much bait I've got left, look. Not even enough to fill up a feeder. Well, they reckon save the best till last. This is probably not the best when it comes to colour, but it's certainly the best when it comes to size. And we knew there was a few better ones out there because, well, let's face it, they're bright white, bright orange, bright various different colours. And so when you start spraying the maggots and stuff, you can see what you're fishing for. And instead of moving to different lakes, we persevered, wanted one of these, and I'm out of bait. I'm pretty much out of time because I've got 30 minutes to go back to the room, spruce myself up, make myself look pretty, smell nice, and go to a PARTY. So that is a fitting end to what has been, at the start, a frustrating afternoon, but has turned out to be an absolute barnstormer. Brilliant, look at it. Wicked little fish. Don't know what it is, but it's very, 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 very orange. I think it's a goldfish. Look at that. Feeling slightly fragile because I have a raging toothache, not a hangover. And we had a little bit of a late night last night, celebrating 40 years. And I thought I'll come down and I'll fish a lake where I can genuinely leave the feeder rod in the van and just commit to the float. And I literally can't remember the last time I set up a float and plumbed the depth and like just did everything nice and simple. And I'm loving it. Like this is where I started. I started fishing little ponds like this, you know. Oh my God, he is so cool. He's tiny, but he's so cool. Right, should we get him out and have a look? Look at him in the morning sun. And just behind the camera, I'm sure Ty will put a little cutaway B-roll over the top of it. I can see all of the cobwebs reflecting in the morning sun. Absolutely stunning. A little bit of a chill in the air. First bite of the morning. Little bright orange koi / goldfish. Not entirely sure what he is, but that reminds me of when I used to do this type of float fishing in the 6 weeks holidays down at Danbury Lakes, and my old man used to drop me off at silly o'clock in the morning, and I just used to run around and keep myself to myself and just play John Wilson. Beautiful. white and black soldier. Cool, very cool. Double red. One in the head, one in the tail. If you know, you know. Just before it goes in, feather it down so you can straighten all the rig out. Find your catapult. Give them some freebies, just a little bit. Job done. That is simple fishing. That's another little golden tench. That is actually a slightly bigger specimen. And I'm gonna say, with those big fins down there, I reckon that's a male as well. Cool, very cool, love that. I know they're not handfuls, but very cool as the sun comes up on the float. Whee! I've got a tarpon. I think my net might be slightly too big, but you never know. Let's be optimistic. Albeit, as much fun as I'm having on here, what's this lake called? Pixie, I think. I think what we're going to do is after this fish, we're going to move over the way, literally 15 yards away to Magic Lake, do something similar, but try to possibly catch something a little bit bigger and a little bit more different. I've heard there are chub in there, and we all know that I love a chub. Thank you, darling. Right, that's that one. Let's move to another lake and see if we can catch something different. That's a nice start, isn't it? You will not, regardless of size, catch a better common carp than that. Perfect little fish on the float. Beautiful. Just changed over to a little 6mm pellet. They seem to be coming in on the, oh look at that, beautiful. They seem to be coming in on the hemp and the pellet, and I've been fishing double maggot over the top and I've been getting loads and loads of signs. And then picking up the odd like tiny little razor blade golden rudd. So I switched over to a little pellet, little 6mm. And that's the first bite I've had on it, so there we go. An absolute perler, another one. And I know it's another one, but let's be honest, if you only come down here once every 3 or 4 years, you kind of want to get a few colours in your album, don't you? Beautiful. Nice to get it on the float as well. Right, well, sun's come up, and as with most of the lakes, after talking with quite a few anglers, the fish have definitely retreated. Wow, I'm so blind. The fish have definitely retreated tight under the trees, bushes, or into the rushes. So as much as I wanted to try and fish all day today on the float, I've gone back to the van again. And I've got the old feeder rod out, so we're going to do exactly the same as what we did yesterday. The difference is, at least today, I feel like we actually caught a few fish on the float and actually managed to do what I came here to do, which was actually feed a little spot, watch the liners and all the bubblers and stuff like that, and actually sort of take myself back to my childhood. Now, however, it's got to that point where we need to do what we need to do to get one more fish. That's all I want. I want one more decent koi, and if I'm honest, we're still on Magic. We were fishing over there on the float, and whilst we were fishing over there, we heard and saw quite a lot a decent koi, sploshing and cruising around this side of the island. So we're the only ones on this lake at the moment. There's still people dotted around because of the Specie Challenge, and everyone's moving about trying to tick as many boxes as possible. We ain't in it, but we've done all right. We would have done all right anyway. And we've done nothing special, to be fair. We've just fished normal tactics, really, and it's just a game of numbers. But now I want to finish off this little session and my little trip down to Angler's Paradise. I just want a bonus koi, one of those ones I'm seeing. And I think the flat method, as much as I'm probably going to do a bit of an old school setup in that, I'm probably going to fish my flat method out there onto the island and my float rod right down there on the edge of them pads. I think the flat method for the next and last couple of hours of the session gives us our best shot. So nice and simple. One of our quick chain bolt beads, and a flat method, same as yesterday, slid up the line, like as simple as it gets. There we go, job done. And I'm even going to get fancy and tie myself a new hook link. Well, that was a big wrap round for what feels like a really small fish. Oh dear, oh dear. Wow, I honestly thought this move round here was going to be a blinder. And aside from getting turned over a couple of times, this is actually our first bite, even though there are still fish boshing all over the place. It must be mid-afternoon blues. In you go. Those big black eyes. That is stunning. I absolutely love these. Beautiful. Thank you very much. One more. Where's my towel? I think that was on the feeder for ages. I had loads and loads of signs that they were on that feeder. You just got to sit on your hands. That was almost like old school method fishing when you used to chuck out a great big cricket ball. You get loads and loads of signs before your bobbins like either pulled up tight or dropped back. I do love this. You know you're not going to catch anything absolutely monstrous, and so because of that you just chilled out. There's an atmosphere at Angler's Paradise that is unmatched anywhere else in the country. Everyone's friendly, everyone's moving around, everyone gives each other loads of room. Everyone's full of help and advice. And the lakes are full of just incredibly coloured fish. Look at that, I don't even know what that is. I couldn't even tell you what that is. That's like a mad, it looks like a mirror, but it's not, it's a common. And it looks like a ghosty, but it's not, it's a koi. I don't know what that is, but it is super cool. That is mad. He is so cool. This might be my favourite fish so far. Where are you? Where's the hook? Well, again, it's not massive, but look at that. Somehow, that I think is the coolest fish that we've caught so far. The colours of it make its scales stand out so much. It's like you've drawn it. That's incredible. I think it's a bit of everything, but I'm going to call it more ghosty than anything else. The bite was cool, the fight was great, and the fish is just exceptional. The condition of these things here at Angler's Paradise is awesome. Absolutely awesome. And it is, I think it is a thing. You're good on the float until probably 9, 10 o'clock, but when that sun starts to come out and the afternoon periods here, you're better off getting on the flat method and slinging it by the rushes or the pads or in this case up tight to the island. Because our float fishing did go a bit slow, and like yesterday, a flat method has definitely got us out of trouble. Look at that, behaving itself as well. I love that, I love that. I'm going to get a photograph of that one. If he lets me. literally just put back my favourite fish of the trip, and I think I've just hooked a new favourite fish of the trip. I've just seen it. It looks really cool. I want to see it. I want a picture with this one. That is mega. That is mega. Oh, that's a fish and a half. That is worth 400-mile round trip and a small hangover. We could fish for another week and catch loads of weird and wonderful bits from Angler's Paradise. I genuinely don't think it gets any better than that. Although I'm going to continue fishing, that, if it's my last fish, is an absolute weldy and a perfect way to end my little trip down here to Devon. Oh, that's so cool. That is so cool. Absolutely mad. I'll be honest, the first couple of chucks I had in this swim, we didn't really get anything, and then all of a sudden out of the blue I had two massive great big pulls, like proper bites, and nothing on the end. And so obviously with something like that you just think to yourself, right, something's wrong with the rig. I wound the rig in, I didn't think anything of it, but what I did do, based on the fact that a lot of koi have got really small mouths, is I tied my really small 6mm wafter, the little pink wafter, size 14 specie hook, but I tied it really tight to the shank of the hook, as if I would be chub fishing or something, you know, because chub tend to pick at it rather than suck it in. And I know that carp, whether they're king carp or koi carp, they still got protrusible mouths and they would suck it in, but with the smaller mouths, I got the impression those two wrap rounds that resulted in no fish, I got the impression they were probably just missing the hook, which obviously sounds obvious in hindsight, but I tightened the hook right down, or tightened the hair right down to the shank of the hook, and since then, every pull has resulted in a fish. Sometimes small things, sometimes small things make big differences. This actually feels like a really big fish. This is doing circles, and like this little spot, this little swim is getting better and better and better. Oh, he ain't a bad one. He ain't a bad one at all. You know, he ain't bad. He's just got a bit bigger. This is epic. This is... Oh, look at him. God, blimey, he's got a bit of depth to him. You don't see that. I just saw his head. God, blimey. Oh, absolutely nailed. Look how short that hair is. Straight in the bottom lip. He's a good one. Well, it's becoming a video of repetition, and I don't mean like repetition of bites, I mean repetition of absolutely world-class looking koi, and me saying it's my favourite fish, because this one has almost got like a two-tone thing going on. Look at the pearlescent scales on its belly just below the lateral line. That is an absolute weldy, absolute weldy, even if he's misbehaving. Oh, mate. You just never know what's going to pop up. You don't. And that's the beauty of it. One float rod, one feeder rod. I know it's a long way to come, but I haven't caught anything like this in the last few years, and I probably ain't going to catch anything like this unless I come back to Angler's Paradise in the next few years. So I am making the most of it. that. Look at that. How can you not? How can you not want that in your photo album? I'm out of words. I really am out of words. So I'm just going to hold him up, smile, and I'm going to let you appreciate it just like I am right now. Isn't that wonderful? That is the last one of the day. It's just been an incredible afternoon. So just another brilliant looking fish. Right, thank you very much. Have a bit of free food on me. Stick a fork in me, I'm done. That has been a wonderful trip. Nice fat one. Nice. Well, that is the last fish for me. I want to take this one home. In fairness, I want to take them all home. They've been spectacular looking creatures, and the flat method has sorted them out, certainly when that sun comes up. Sticking it tight to the rushes, the pads or the island, pinging a few 4mm over the top. Nice little tight, tiny little hook bait as well to match the 2mm pellet that we're putting on top. It's a worldie. It's an absolute game changer and it works everywhere. I am now going to slip this one back, go up to the restaurant, have a nice lasagna, and then I'm going to do the drive home because I've got work tomorrow morning. But that is one awesome session, and I really must not make it. I don't know how many years it's been since last time down here, but I've got to come back a lot sooner because I love this. I love these creatures. Oh, that is beautiful. Look at that. That is beautiful.